What is up, everyone? Today we're going to be looking at refinancing this property. I'm going to show you guys our numbers, hopefully teach you guys a little bit. Hopefully you can start building your own portfolio of your own, being a great landlord, having great tenants, and really just helping your community. So let's get right into it. So basically we purchased this property for $70,000. We're about $70,000 into it after completely remodeling it, getting it in great condition. Everything is basically brand new on this property. So altogether, we're about $140,000 into this property. So this house is valued at about $210,000. We got that value by finding comps in the area, similar bed count, bathroom count, similar square footage, and we find stuff that is built around the same year. So basically the bank would give me about 80% of the value. That would be about $168,000 on this property. Like I said, we're all in for $140,000. So basically the bank would give me about $28,000 after we refinance. That is untaxed money. So basically I'd get that, no taxes, nothing to worry about on that. If I were to sell this property, I would basically pay about 7% in closing costs, all that stuff, to the other realtor, to my realtor. I would also pay probably about 3% on repairs, little repairs. Every house, they'll have a repair list. Even if it's a brand new house, they'll still find stuff that they want done. So after that's all said and done, if I were to sell the property, I'd profit about $49,000. That's after the $140,000 that I've already put into the property. So basically, I would also have to pay taxes on that. Could be $10,000, could be $25,000, depending on the area that you're in. But in my area, I'll probably end up paying about $10,000 in taxes on that. So really, I'd have about $39,000 after taxes, all the fix up, everything that I've done to this property. So that sounds great. I make $10,000 more if I were to sell the property. Sounds great, but then if you think about it, if I hold this property, I get appreciation on the property. Probably about 3% a year is a good number that I like to go by. So after the first year of holding this property, I would have about $6,300 extra on top of that. Not actual cash in my pocket, but it's still something that basically is in my bank account. I like to look at houses as a bank. It's holding money for me for the future. I would also have depreciation on this property. That's another thing you might want to look into. I'm not gonna go deep into that in this video. Maybe I will in a future video, but I'll have about $4,000 a year in depreciation on this property. Again, not cash in my pocket, but it is something that I can look forward to whenever I file my taxes. It's a lot less taxes that I have to pay every year. So basically that's money in my pocket. I would also have about $3,000 in cash flow after I pay the mortgage, pay the bills and all that stuff if I rent it for what we plan on. So really I would make about $41,000 after the first year on this property. That would be cash flow, appreciation, depreciation, all that stuff. So really after the first year, I made more than if I were to sell it. If I were to sell it, I also would not make any future years profit on that property. It's basically gone. That money is just gone in the wind. I can't make it over time of just letting the property sit and mature. All right guys, I was looking back at this footage. One thing that I forgot to mention, if I were to have refinanced it for that 80% of the value, I would still have 20% in equity. So basically I would have $42,000 in equity. After the first year, I would have over $80,000 from this property alone. That's equity, cash that I've made, principal pay down, all those factors. That's one of the main reasons that I like to keep properties if I'm able to. If I were to sell it at a later date, I could always 1031 exchange it into another property. That's something I haven't talked about a whole lot on this channel, but I'll probably do a future video about that, so just stay tuned. All right, with that being said, let's get back to the video. So everything just sounds great. Why would you ever sell a property? Well, basically there are other risks involved. I mean, renting a house can be risky. Somebody can burn it down, tear it up. I mean, there's all types of things that people are worried about. You could use a property manager to get rid of that, but we also have to talk about interest rates. So basically the bank that I use, we do a 5-year fixed, 25-year amortization. So basically there are some risks with that. After the 5 years, I will have to refinance. Rates could go up. They could also go down. But I am getting my loans for 7.75% right now. So basically I have to rent this property for $1,950. That way I can get the full amount back whenever I refinance it. That is with a 1.2 DSCR from the bank. Basically the DSCR is the debt service coverage ratio. That is the amount of money that I am paying every month compared to how much I'm renting it for. That basically includes taxes, insurance, 10% vacancy that the bank likes to see, just in case the property has to sit in between tenants and all that stuff. So let's just say if I'm only able to rent this property for $1,800, maybe not the full $1,950. So basically the bank will still want me to have that same debt service coverage ratio. So basically they will give me less money on the refinance. So basically if I was only able to rent this property for $1,800 a month, they would give me $155,000 on this property. Minus the $140,000 that I already am into this property, I would get $15,000 back. It would still be nice that I would have this property. It would still be appreciating, paying me year after year, still get depreciation for the next 27 and a half years. And I also would be able to have the cash flow on top, principal pay down. That's also something that I don't account for. That's just icing on the cake for me. So in my mind, it is so much better to be able to keep the money basically in a bank account in this property. As long as I'm finding great tenants, they'll pay off the property for me. It'll go up in value year after year as long as I'm buying in a good area. I also don't have to worry about paying this big tax bill at the end of the year. So it is great for me to be able to rent these properties. I have a system in place to be able to rent them, take care of my tenants, all that stuff. If you're using a property manager, that's another cost that you have to factor into this. So in my eyes, it is great to rent properties. I am able to keep it over time, get paid on it year after year after year. So basically, if you guys have seen some of our other videos, you know that we do full rehabs on majority of our projects. So we have a lot less CapEx of things that we have to fix up year in and year out. So our maintenance costs are a lot lower. We also really take care of our tenants. If we do have any maintenance requests, we jump right on them. We want our properties to perform well. We want them to be taken care of. We want them to have great houses for them to live in. And we end up retaining a lot of our tenants. A lot of the times they're asking us to extend the lease before we can even ask them to extend the lease. Months out, they're great tenants. I like to be a great landlord. They're great tenants back. So it's very reciprocal. What I am saying is if you're a great landlord, if you can really take care of people, stay on top of things, really do great remodels, I think it is the best way to be able to build your wealth, be able to have properties whenever you retire. All mine will be completely paid off by somebody else. They'll increase in value. This is something you can do with very little money. I started with nothing. I use hard money lenders. They can be risky. You need to learn what you're doing. Start meeting with other investors. Go to real estate meetups. Just learning the ropes, watching videos. You can do it too. No matter what age, no matter what, you can figure out how to do this. I started with nothing. Had no money, so I mean, here we are 7 years later, building my portfolio still, helping out the people around me, giving contractors work, giving great homes to people. It's something I think can be great for anybody, great investment tool. It's just great all around. So if you like this type of video, please like, subscribe, watch another video, and thank you guys so much for watching.